right, welcome everybody to this week's showing of the Four Crowns racing the Hometown Heroes class here on the Oval track. Take a small break here real quick to try to get yet again another desktop capture here. That's the wrong one. Like I said, guys, just bear with me here for just a second here. There we go. I got to resize this real quick. Get our chat box here. There we go. You guys ready? Racers, watch your lights. All right, there we go. Chat box is up. A little funky looking. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. There we go. It's a little bit better. So our first wreck already coming up in here. Looks like we're already dropping frames here. Red and green. So let me shut off some other cameras that we're not using currently. That might help. Right now out in the lead, we got Gunnar Vinder there on blue lane. I'll shut off another one of our cameras here real quick. There we go. Gale Force Raceway, Lanes Raceway. Somewhere in the world, these tracks are out there. This is true. True facts. These tracks are out there. We are currently located in Livermore, Kentucky, for those wanting to know. Got another wreck here. We're going to give them a strike here. That's on green lane. Just had some fresh cookies from our sponsor here in the Four Crowns, Subway of Livermore, Kentucky. They brought us over a big old bag of cookies a while ago, so that was pretty nice of them. 3 cars coming off in the high banks. Where is Lanes Raceway is what I'm asking. Livermore, Kentucky, 42352 Hinton Street, 606A. Hello, John. White and yellow going to get strikes here. Guys are running the Hometown Heroes class here, which is a 4.5-inch GRC slash FCR chassis. And they're running the caveman bodies, the open wheel modifieds. And of course, they've got to be put together, clear coated, and look like an actual open wheel modified that you would see on a Sunday or Saturday at your local big car raceway. John, I wish you was closer too, man. These guys would too. These guys would love to have you. You was right. I would be back. John is back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back. Yes, Gale Force Raceway, we do have the latest Stern pinball machines. We're looking at getting a Dungeons and Dragons. They just released a video on it about 2 days ago, and we're super pumped about it. As soon as it's available at our local distributor, we're going to get us one of them in here. We got quite a few, and this is no lie, quite a few guys that really, really know how to play pinball in this area. It's really big in the Indiana side of area. That's where Flipping Out Pinball is located. So it's pretty big in this area. Now it's not big in Kentucky per se. Like I think in Kentucky we're probably one of maybe two places that actually have pinball machines. But it is big in the Indiana area, and we're really close to Indiana, only about 45 minutes from here. Gunner Vendor there, 56 laps, 55 for Nathaniel, 53 for Glenn Burden, Guillermo Sire, 51, 50 for Randy, and 18 for Jay Latham. And back over here to the oval. Looks like we're dropping a few more frames. I'm going to try to cut out a few more of the cameras that we're not necessarily using. This is our RC track. I'm going to go ahead just for the time being, try to save a little bit of bandwidth action and cut this cam off. It's all about saving those bandwidths. That might help there. Pick you up first? All right. Oh, man. Dude, Dragon's Lair. You know, that took a special kind of mind to be able to beat that game. I remember when it was in Aladdin's Castle in Owensboro, and I would throw so many dollars in there. There was a guy I looked up to growing up named Brian Baggett. Him and his brother would just play like crazy that game, and they had it actually at home, and that's where I knew how to beat it. It was all about timing. You had to time it just perfect. Gale Force says, "Oh, I saw the RC track in action the other night. Way cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that." Yeah, John, wasn't it a good game? I mean, drag. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've had a mod before on on my computer where I was able to play it, but I never could beat it. But I'd seen some guys that had perfect timing and was able to beat that game. But I was always, man, getting toasted by the dragon, just getting my face blown off at the very beginning, or missing the jump and falling into the lava, all that stuff. Good game, though. Tell you another good game, probably my favorite game out of all PC gaming, Full Throttle. And they actually have it on Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. It's just a click adventure, single player, but the atmosphere on that is a LucasArts game. And funny thing is, oh, what's his name? Luke Skywalker. I can't think of his actual name, but anyways, he was the bad guy in that game, and he played such a good bad guy. 100% timing and perfect moves for sure. Yes, that if you didn't have that, like you're not beating that game, and you know it's kind of like slot car racing. If you get off your line just a hair, uh, you're going to shove that dude into the wall. Gale Force, I loved Full Throttle. Did you like Full Throttle? Like that was my favorite game growing up. I remember 1995 when that came out, and I was like, this is the future, you know. Blake Smith said got drugged to Evansville today. May end up there before you close. Blake, I've been working hard. For you guys who don't know, it's Blake Smith. Let's Talk Racing in the local area here, and great announcer. But I've been working hard on your Bill Elliott there, Blake, and I've been really putting in a lot of work there. So I got it looking good. I might even get I painted you up some wheels. Now you're not forced to have to buy these wheels, but I painted them up gold to match the old school Bill Elliott. So Blake's getting himself a body ready for the upcoming fairgrounds class we're going to have. John, my wife has a full size Galaga in the living room. We're both gamers, hardcore. I love it, John. My wife, man, she really likes Sims, like hooked on Sims, dude. So I bought her an Xbox X, and that's all she plays. She doesn't really play much other than that, but she's been getting pretty hooked on YouTube gaming. They got little video YouTube games, or like flash games from back in the days. What it kind of reminds me of. Purple's going to receive a strike here. I can find my right thing. There we go. John, you've airbrushed a lot of Elliott cars. Well, I might need to contract you to do a job here. I did paint the bottom side of Blake's white, but you know I'm limited. I'm using spray cans, rattle cans, not a lot of detail there, and I'm using masking tape from Tamiya, which ain't bad. I had a couple calls in for Galaga / Miss Pac-Man table model for the Raceway. Yeah, I mean, we had a lady here said, man, I'd be down there every day if you put a Frogger in. Girls love Frogger. I mean, I like Frogger, okay, don't get me wrong, but I'm much more of a Pitfall kind of guy from Atari. Watch video on third screen. Oh yeah, full throttle, dude. It'll make you just want to play it. I mean, man, I beat that game so many times, and oh, I just love that game. Orange and purple getting strikes here. There was another game kind of similar to it, but not as dark when it comes to the storyline, and it was like Treasure Island, I believe, was very similar to it. Been doing a lot of transmission work at home lately. Transmission like big car transmission? If that's the case, I hope you're just talking about like manual transmissions, because automatic transmission, man, whew, what a pain. Gunnar Bender out in the lead right now, 103 total laps. Nathaniel Burden, 101. Guillermo Sire, 98 to round up your top three. Glenn Burden not too far behind, 97. Randy Kirtley, 95, right behind him, and Jay with 69. So get one up on its backside. Yes. Dog eats meat, then kills me. Oh yeah, Monkey Island. That was it. Monkey Island / Treasure Island. Yeah, those were the ones that didn't have as dark of a storyline. So orange and blue going to receive strikes there. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Best part about those was the towns that you went to, like the old pirate towns. Autos and sticks. Yeah, autos, man. Working on automatic transmissions, I've done one in my life, and it was for a Thunderbird Super Coupe. We put it together, and if you don't get those, uh, what are they? O-rings, those little bitty tiny O-rings in the right spot, and get them perfect. And definitely don't do like I did. I didn't have one set, so I was like, well, they look in good enough shape. We'll go ahead and put it back together. Yeah, don't do that. Make sure that you definitely get all the parts needed, because it blew up like 3 weeks later, and we ended up selling it to a guy. John, thank you, man. It's a lot of hard work. This is actually our second facility. We was in a smaller facility. We had it all neon, LED'd out, and everything else, but we kind of outgrew it. The guys, of course, we do a lot of payout races and stuff. And I know that is somewhat of an incentive, but all of our members, you can see Guillermo there wearing one of our series shirts. Our members get free T-shirts and stuff. Take care of them. So it's kind of like a club / open to the public facility, but we do cater to our members a lot. It just nicked one out, and then the fluid. I mean, you look inside there, it looks like wormwood. It's just holes and reservoirs and pockets everywhere in them automatic transmissions. It's just a nightmare to say the least. What software are you using to move between the cameras and PC screen so well? We're actually using software. Let me see what it's actually called. I'm trying to think here. Uh, XSplit is what we use. It's called XSplit. But in the bot, it's a lot like OBS, but it's like a paid model. Uh, my brother came across it right before we opened, and he had already paid for it. They used to do Bitcoin streams. Uh, him and a buddy of his in town. Of course, they've been mining Bitcoin for years. John, lip seals can cut pretty easily. Yeah, and I almost think that's what it was. Me and my dad tried to do it. It's our first time doing one of them automatic transmissions. Like, well, how hard could this be? My dad's pretty intelligent when it comes to cars. He's been building motors and stuff like that his whole life. XSplit, yeah, Gale Force. That's what we're using. But you can get the same stuff done with OBS. It works the same way. And it's free. OBS is free too. There's a lot more overlays and stuff you can get with OBS. All right, looks like I lost my headset there again. I really need to figure out, maybe download SteelSeries software. I got the SteelSeries little wireless headset. I think it's called Articus Pro or something like that. I don't know. They're pretty expensive, but they boasted a pretty good transmission rate where that you can go far away from the base station, and that is no lie, folks. Like I can go sitting in my seat where I'm at right now. You can kind of see me. I'll wave my hand up here in the top left. I can go from here all the way around the corner just to the right of Gunner there and still get connection. So black there is going to receive a strike. But like I said, they were not the cheapest headset, but they are very high quality, and the battery life on them stays up forever. And it's got an onboard charge station. So if you're looking for a good gaming headset, these things are unreal. Gelforce says, I paid down a V8 swap in my old S10 back in 85 truck by dumping out all the trans shoppers torque converters. I mean, a person that knows how to work on automatic transmission, man, can write paychecks nowadays. It's just, it's not something that people know how to do really anymore. And I mean, we all have cousins and younger kids and the generations growing up now. And I'll tell you, man, a lot of them just don't know how to work on stuff. They're not really hand driven anymore. Because, I mean, I love video games. I love social platforms and stuff. There's a time and place for all that kind of stuff, and I think it's a benefit, but it's also a hindrance to a lot of people, almost similar to a drug, really. To some people, it'll lock them down to the point that they don't want to do anything but that, and then they don't really learn any kind of craft or nothing until they're out of high school, and it always helps to have a little bit of an advantage before you actually go to make a craft, whether it be working on electrical before you become an electrician like I did. Black's going to take a strike. Now, I'm no longer an electrician. During the pandemic, I got out of that. We just didn't have no work, and I was, what do they call it, foot to mouth there for a little bit. John says there aren't any up and coming techs anymore. That's true. And then you got places like John Deere and stuff locking down, like especially around this area with farmers and everything, lock it down to where they have to call mechanics to come in and work on their stuff that because they, per, what is that, proprietary their tractors and stuff where you can't even work on them. They showed me the transmissions and I nearly fainted when he showed me the modern 700 R4 trans on his drag Buick Grand National. Whew, yeah, those Grand Nationals, dude. You know what he was doing? He's taking it to the strip and he's boosting that baby right at the end. Yeah, my dad, he used to drag race when he was a kid. He had a 71 Mach 1. I've been rebuilding it since I've been 16. Parts on that stuff get so expensive whenever they go out of production. And finding them, people know what they got. Yeah, and those, the Grand National Buicks, the Turbo Buicks, and all that, all those guys were taking those to the strip. He would tell me, he's like, that was the one car that was just so hard to beat because, they could dial in quick and run it quick, or they could dial in slow and then boost at the end just enough to beat you. And it's kind of like a cheating button. Blue and red gonna get strikes here. Beautiful cars though. Funny thing is, uh, I got a '71 Mustang drag car in the display cabinet over there. It's a 73, I guess you would say, because the turn signals were vertical instead of horizontal. Heck yeah, Ford guy. Yeah, I love Ford, man. I think when it comes to domestic, Ford definitely does lead the way when it comes to the pony car stuff. Uh, but I think everybody offers their own brand of excellence. Chevrolet, you ain't going to find a better looking interior for a pony car than a Camaro. Ford, they're always trying to do like flat plane crank stuff and like that all out front. They always want to compete with Ferrari and all of the other type of classes and stuff like that in Le Mans. And then you got Dodge. They just do nothing but pump out raw power all the time. So, but yeah, I mean, I grew up with uh, Fords in my family. My dad was always a big Ford guy, but my brother raced a Chevrolet open wheel modified. G4 says, yes, sir. He was spraying 150 kit on his motor. Back then, he ran deep into the 11s. Now that's nothing. Yeah, I mean, man, you think about it. The cars like the Camaros and the Demons and the Hellcats and even the Mustangs, just stock out of the gate, 500 something horsepower and stuff. Of course, the Hellcats and Demons and stuff, the turbocharged stuff's a little bit more than that. It says we have a 71 Boss 351 I bought in 1978. Now it's got 42,000 miles on it. Oh, that's a find right there. That's a 100,000 or more dollar car you got there. Uh, Want to cry. First car was a 69 SS 396. Yeah. Whew. Dad changed it to the tree in the front yard after his first drive. Made me sell it. Wow. Yeah, that would have been a nice one. 69, that's when they had the crease in the door. It's pretty nice. Oh, congratulations. We have received 100 messages today with Restream Chat. That's pretty cool. Speaking of that, let me go grab one of these cars out of the display. I'll show you these two drag cars these guys got up for consignment here. And we'll ship it all over the U.S., but some of these guys really know how to work on these cars. Hey, T, give me that 71 Mustang and that Grand National there. Well, sorry, 73 Mustang. I keep saying 70. Yeah, that and the black Grand National. Got a couple of these cars. We can always look at stuff on here while we're waiting. Ugh. All right, let's see. I got some S10 Blazers back here too. So here's one of them made here. It's the Grand National here. It's not really wanting to focus too well with the Pro Track tires on it. You can see they did a really good job. They used some car clear in there. The interior there is a caveman drag interior. Really nice 3D printed interior. Then we got the 73 Boss 351, 73 because of the horizontal or vertical turn lights there. But really nice little bar car there. The interior is a little bit more generic there. It's got NOS on it and stuff like that. But both these cars really nice little cars that they drag race. Ah, see here. Blazer 525 horsepower. That's nice. Paul and Chevy. Cool. Gale Force, I don't know what I am anymore. I guess I'm a car guy. Uh, I don't. Everybody's coming up with so many different type of technologies. You got to appreciate every one of them and all advances into something that we all like. I appreciate that. I didn't actually make these cars. They are on consignment from some of the guys in the local area. But I will let them know that you think their car is awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a strike there for green. I better get that on there. I don't think I'm slacking on my job. John, I wish you love looking at this stuff all the time. We had a guy actually come in here last week, or well, it was a week before last, Gordon, and he brought in a super funny car, which is a Group 7. If you guys, I mean, I know you guys know about slot car racing, but it's a Group 7 drag car. This thing didn't weigh nothing. It was kind of like a laser cut chassis, real lightweight, and it had a Marty motor in it. If you guys know anything about slot car drag racing, you'll know that's a pretty popular motor. It's like basically a Group 7 motor, I guess, wound by this Marty guy and put in a Hawk 6 can. Yeah, strike equals crash. That's going to be another one there for green. So that'd be green second. If they get three within a heat, they got to set out the remainder of the heat. Yeah, very fast. We got two Coford Group 7s that we built for a guy, and then he got bad health and wanted to sell them back to us, and we ended up buying them back from him. They've been sitting in there, just waiting on somebody to make a build with them, but they're brand new. He's literally drove them around the track for like 5 minutes, uh, and we're selling them for ridiculously cheap here. I, we got two wing cars, Group 7s with Booth chassis, the latest Booth chassis, mind you, from Coford. Dollar car, you know. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to run a lot of races in one day like we do, you got to have some kind of rule like this, or people would just abuse you. Yeah, that's what I've been finding too. Everybody wishes that back in the day they had a rule like it. So, Gale Force, do you write your own software for your HO track, or is it like software, like Carrera software and stuff that you get from like phone apps? Yeah, track calls can get old. The Flexi Challenge Series, when they come here, they're going to be doing a live track race there. Um, there's no real perfect way of doing it. If you don't do track calls, then you might have people lazily putting your car back on so they can win. If you do track calls, it's a lot of button presses, you know, that kills the track. Race coordinator is what you use. Yeah, there's very few options that we have out there. All right, looks like they're in a rotation here. Yeah, the one thing that I wish is I had a person that was like you see me clearing the strikes here. I'm doing all this myself. Sometimes I get kind of crossed up in the head and forget to do certain things like go to the track mate, show you guys the lap numbers. Right now, Guillermo and Gunner both tied at 224, Randy at 208, 206 for Nathaniel, 191 for Jay, and 177 for Glenn Burden. Gale Force Raceway just subbed. Another sub. We love it. Thank you. Guys are going to love that too. We've had quite a few subs today. We had 220, I believe, before we started, and now from our last stream we went up to 222. I'm ecstatic. I know the guys are too. Not as many options in HO scale, so we get lucky with race coordinator and track mate. Yeah, but you know, I think this is my personal opinion, just from what I've been watching, because I do like to watch the 164 scale HO stuff. Uh, the drag racing. I like how that you can run a 4 lane drag. And I've talked to the owner there in Canada for TrackMate about him getting a 4 laner going for 124 scale because I think that would be cool to have a 4 lane drag race. 225, man. So we've gotten 3 subscribers today. That is awesome. The we don't. That's one thing too, guys. Like we don't force you to have to subscribe or nothing here. We'd like you to if you like racing. You'll always hear me say that. But we want to get guys like you know, that really love slot car racing, love hobby racing, whether it's RC or slot car drag racing, any of the hobbyist stuff. Try to communicate and commune us all together so that we can be a mix of ideas. And of course, you guys respect this kind of racing. So we won't pay for views. If that stuff pops up here, I delete it, you know, and it pops up all the time. So if you see that, and I didn't know it for years, I had to ask my brother. He had to tell me, but promo SM, evidently that's whenever you buy views. So, but yeah, we won't do that here. True 4 lane, and then on a 6 lane. Man, I would love to have the website to that. That would be crazy. 6 lane drag. Well, we've already been in the talks. We don't know if we're going to do it just yet, but we've been talking about actually getting another quarter-mile drag strip to put on the other side of the wall, possibly, so that we can run our drag races faster, maybe set up for some big events and stuff like that. Uh, but if we could get the four-lane thing to work, we would put it side by side with this one and run, you know, four lanes, rocking out like they do in real life, which I find cool when they do that. Special event type stuff, though, I guess. Guillermo Sire and Gunnar Venter, though, very close together. 243 for Guillermo is a couple laps out. Now, he is on black lanes. About from Gunnar, probably about 2.5 feet shorter, but Gunnar's running impressive with 2.168. 1.929 is very impressive, too, with the 929 gear ratio, the stomp motor down low on black. And I seen the other day, I can't remember what I was watching, but the Mini Wonderland, I think, is the name of the place. It's somewhere in Europe where this guy just like spends all kinds of time building these little miniature uh, towns and railways and stuff like that. It's the biggest mini railway in the world, and they just completed doing a mini Monaco, and it actually runs a race on it. And I watched the whole video on that, and it just blew my mind. I told my brother, I said, man, if we ever go back overseas or something, I want to go to this place and watch them run a mini Monaco. Play robot or playing robot. Okay. I'm sure I can find it off that. I'm writing that down now. If I do find it, I can't paste the link, but I can work around that. All right, cool. Man, at Gale Force, I appreciate that. Because I'd really like to see that. A six laner, that's nutty. In the 90s, I wrote a couple of articles for Scale Auto Racing with John Ford. I heard he passed away. You know, I couldn't speak on that. I don't know. But Scale Auto Racing, I remember that when I was a kid. So that's cool that you wrote some articles for that. We've had a few guys in here write articles and some slot car posted stuff before too. Milton Gamble runs a lot of the F2000 races. Him and a couple other guys that run in the Flexi Challenge series. They've wrote some stuff too. You spoke of John or Ron Hirschman. Of course, you know he's been pretty big into slot car racing also. Guillermo out in the lead, 285, and that's about all I'm going to get before it times out on me. Again, currently for his Hot Wheels, but he's just looking into slot cars now. Yeah, Hot Wheels is a big thing. We thought about, of course, we went on. I went on my first vacation in probably, I would say, at least 10 years. My brother uh, got us a vacation for my whole family. We went to the Virgin Islands, and they were taking treadmills and putting Hot Wheels on it and racing them like NASCAR races, and they were throwing big money down doing that, and they were posting it all over their doors and everything else that they were fixing to run these big, huge races, and there were some people doing it. It was crazy. All that stuff from the 90s, John, is worth major money now. I seen a guy the other day sold a unwrapped. This is unwrapped, mind you, VHS of Back to the Future for like 20 grand, and it was unwrapped. Like, could you imagine what one still in the plastic would be? Play Robotics is the site. All right, I wrote that down. I will be definitely checking that out. Let's see this here. I don't know how to spell robotics. I'll have to go back and look at that. There it is. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out later. I just checked it out online. Yeah, VHSs are crazy right now, going for crazy amounts of money. Some of the ones that people really want. Of course, you guys know, you probably heard by now about Mandela effects and all that stuff. So everybody's wanting the old VHSs. They think that it can't be corrupted. I don't know. That's Orange Lane going to take a strike there. Guillermo Sire in the lead by 8 laps right now. Gunner there in second with 291. Randy Kirtley 280. He's about 10 laps down from the guys. That's your top three. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is right. Well, see, I'm using that. That is what you're actually seeing here is live on the internet. Because I haven't yet set up the chat overlay. So this is just an instance of the internet that I've put on the software. Yeah, John, some of the like the earlier LPs and stuff from like when my dad was growing up, especially like Queen and stuff like that, those vinyls that were pressed. And it all depends on like what cities and stuff they were pressed into. It's kind of like that currency, you know. We was talking about currency earlier. It really just depends on where that stuff gets pressed at. But very rare occasions, they'll have special pressings, and those things are outrageous too. There's something to be said about the sound of vinyl, though. I don't get what it is about a pin being dragged over tiny little bumps, but it's just a different type of sound. It's a warmer type of sound than the digital stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not a place for digital. I think there's people that do digital really, really well. I think the best band that ever done digital is Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, man, they pretty much pioneered digital, in my opinion. But you can hear some crazy stuff on their digital records. There's other bands too that do digital really well. Guillermo Sire 343, Gunnar Vinder there 330, 323 for Randy Kirtley, 313 for Nathaniel, 303 for Jay, 289 for Glenn. Analog really is warmer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get the tubes out and you set up all your sound. You can actually hire people to actually set your sound up. I didn't know that until my brother a couple of weeks ago. He bought a sound system for his truck that they usually put in Ferraris, and he had a guy come and set his sound, and that just blew my mind. But back when I was growing up, I used to make rap beats and stuff for guys. When I was younger, I actually did a little bit myself when I was in my 20s, and I was really big into getting that clearer sound, that sharper sound and stuff like that, while still being able to maintain bass without it just being just dropped out. And I remember getting a decent set of headphones and listening to it, and then also having some decent sound equipment at the house. I use monitors, is what I would use to listen to my music and set it up. And there's a lot of difference there if you have the budget to be able to do that kind of stuff. It saves a lot of time when you're trying to make it, especially if you use monitors. Because if you're using regular speakers and stuff that's not amplified in a certain way, or I guess you would say calibrated for the music that you're making, then what ends up happening, it'll either be overgained and it'll just be really distorted and nasty sounding, or to be too high pitched, or you can't hear the voice and stuff like that. But you use monitors and stuff to replicate all that, and it saved a lot of time, especially when you were using the software available back then. That was right when Fruity Loops came out, so that's how long ago that was. I'm pretty old, or I feel old anyway. I'm about to be 40 pretty soon. Well, 39 soon, then 40, but I guess I'm adding some years. But I can't remember the sound stereo. It's from Italy. He ended up getting a guy come in there and he had this little device that he hooked up in it, and they set it all up. I sat in there a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you, man, uh, it was an experience. It's kind of like sitting in the movie theater, really. Round robin 7 of 8, and it's been pretty close between Guillermo and Gunnar Bender. Well, I say old, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like not young. Because there was that age from like when you're a real young kid all the way through your 20s and stuff. Like you could go out, you could party, you could get in a fight, wake up the next day, and you wouldn't feel bad. Like I couldn't even imagine getting in a fight nowadays. If I got in a fight, I'd wake up the next day in the hospital, probably be in there for a couple weeks. Like the bones don't heal as good, nothing heals as good. It just, I'm not complaining. I'm just like, it's just a part of it, I guess. But I remember my dad, whenever he was my age, coming home from work and saying the same stuff, and I was like, that's never going to happen to me, until it does. John says, same age as my son. My son is 23, so you must have more years. Yeah, I do think that you get towards your middle 20s and stuff, you start thinking a little different for sure. 66. So you was born in 59, I guess. My dad, he was born in 60. The Frost King right there in the brown flannel. Man, don't say that, Gale Force. Wait until 50, sneeze the wrong way, bend down, and pick up a sock in your 2 hours to chiropractor. Whew. Well, I know right now. I'll tell you where I'm at. So, but I was in bed, and it's been probably about 3 years ago it happened, and I just turned over too quick, turned my neck too quick, and turned my back too quick, and it kind of just made a little small pop, and I was down for 2 weeks, couldn't move my neck. So that's about where I'm at right now. And then fart. The way he's talking, you might explode if that happens. Gale Force Raceway. Yeah, I know that video. I'm one fart away from paralysis. Another race. These guys are racing quite well here as we get a good group of three wide, black, yellow, and orange. A little push through there on purple lane. See another car coming off here. Glenn's going to grab it. That's going to be a strike on red. I know I've not done a really strikes, but I've been having a good time. Four red lights are dropping out to green. Here we go. Close race between Randy and Gunner. They're just one lap separating these two. It looks like Randy's probably going to get him here in this one. Running 6 laps there. And that's a heat over. We'll take a look here at the track mate. Guillermo Sire, 401 laps. Gunner there, 382. 381 for Randy. 371 for Nathaniel. 348 for Glenn. 331 for Jay Latham. take a look over at the strikes and clear those out. Gale Force Raceway back on topic. I see some dirt modifieds running. That's totally lacking in HO for sure. I've seen a few 3D printed ones, but yeah. I think the future really, this is what I think. So the HO stuff, you can get the base platform for an open wheel like a Formula One or something. If you got that and you got a resin printer and you actually got a pretty good 3D scan of, let's say, an open wheel, for instance, you could always just, delete out the negative space, like where the motor and everything else would be, and you could 3D print one with a resin printer. I think it would come out pretty good. John, I don't know about that one. I don't even know if I should read that one. Yeah. Well, you at that point you just gotta hope that a nurse is in the room, I guess. But I will say this: what is it? Thingiverse. So if you go onto Thingiverse, you can find a lot of models that people have created in whatever 3D program, and a lot of times you can just scale the stuff down. So like 1/18th scale, I think is what 20 or 30% of 1/24th that you would have to add. Because we scale the same thing whenever we're doing the decals and stuff for the open wheel modified. We'll get the open wheel modified schemes off of Trading Paints. If you guys know about Trading Paints, it's a program you use for iRacing to put the proper scheme that you want on there. We'll take that and then we'll print it out on our printer here for the guys if they like that individual. And then some of the guys actually know the guys so well, they actually call the guys up and they send them the actual file of their stuff. So then they get really, really high quality ones. Stream Customs had a few. Yeah, I mean, 3D printing's coming a long way. I mean, if you really want the high fidelity, no ley lines or nothing like that in your prints, for one, you need to can it towards the tip, like raise the rear about an inch and a half and have it lean on like the left front tip of the bumper or something. And then resin, of course, is such higher fidelity. You don't have as many ley lines, a lot less sanding. The only issue with resin is, of course, it's messy. It's super messy. And it's a pretty bad chemical if you breathe it in too, with the hardeners and stuff. We raced late models in 1/24 scale. That was my favorite in the 16D balanced armature. So in the 16D balanced armatures, was y'all running Parmas or were y'all running like pro slots? Really smooth racing right here. We still see Gunner and Randy there battling it out. One lap separating these two. As we see a car coming off, and I believe that is Gunner coming off there. So that will be a strike there on green. I know I'll probably miss some strikes here, guys, but the guys seem to be doing each other pretty well. Parma, yeah, it's good that Roger Schmidt up there at Mid America is bringing Parma back. Parma kind of died off there for a bit, and Roger, he's really been doing a real good effort. We went up there to get our drag strip from him there in Chicago. Uh, you know, he was busy. I'm telling you, that dude is busy every day. He really, really loves slot car racing. Let me put it that way, because a man that puts that kind of effort in to make things better for slot car racing, it's got to be appreciated. And I think he just recently bought out Mazzetti too, is what I'd heard. So Mazzetti chassis now being made from Mid America, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I went up there. I talked to him and got a little inside info from Roger when we went up there because we were watching the 2023 World's Race in New Jersey in 2023 there about December time, and he goes. He was on Black Lane and he was picking his cars up, and they basically came on the live stream because they were live streaming the race. It wasn't nothing like what we're live streaming here. It was just kind of basic, but he come up on the live stream and they were yelling at him and said, "You say another word, you pull your stuff." So I asked him about it. Well, evidently he was trying to help somebody, orange and black, and they just had a problem with it, you know, because the guy on black couldn't get his car or something. But I asked him, I was like, "Man, what was going on there?" You know, that's what he said. Drag strip too. Oh, I see a piece of it. Way cool. Did you go to that Atlantic City race? No, I didn't. I watched it all here at Lanes Raceway. We had it on every one of the TVs in here. Of course, we were rooting for Roger, Roger Smith, the guy that owns Mid America Products. Uh, and of course, I mean, I consider him a friend. I mean, we're not like close friends or nothing. I mean, he lives in Chicago. Yeah, the Scale Automag talking about where tracks are located. You know, for a long time, Slot Blog was it. Now I think slot and stuff like that's kind of taken over a little bit. Slot blog's kind of been dying out here the past few years. Slotblog.net, uh, but I still go there every once in a while if we're going into a different city or a different town or something just to see it where tracks are located. Guillermo Sire, you know, you can see him next there to Little Gunner. Um, he keeps us updated on the latest trends in slot car racing here, and of course, you know, Guillermo, he was one of the guys that made the JG controllers. If you've ever heard of JG controllers, Guillermo Sire there, our winner for the race. 454 total laps, 436 for Gunnar Bender, 434 for Randy. He dropped off a couple laps there in the last heat. Nathaniel Burden, 426, 404 for Glenn Burden, and 382 for Jay Latham. Go over and clear these strikes. Galfor says, I stumbled into that race slash show completely by accident as my son was performing that weekend. Ended up streaming and filming there myself. Eric from Lativa Maybe was an incredible friendly host. Well, I'll tell you what, when the stream was working fluidly, which, you know, we always battle drop frames no matter where you're at, you're always subject to the internet. But I'll tell you what, we watched it like crazy here. I know me and Glenn, we didn't leave out of here till about 11:30, 12 o'clock one night watching a couple of the races. But yeah, we were definitely rooting for Roger, and then we rooted for him the following year too when he went to the next one. But do you know if Coford is still around? Coford is in Chicago too, uh, and yeah, they're still around. We still get stuff from them. We get it through our distributor though. We use ERI as our distributing, and you know, good guy there at ERI, Michael. He's always very generous, helps us out, and you know, every Christmas he sends my wife chocolates. So you know, if you're planning on opening up a slot car track or something like that, definitely give Michael a call there at ERI. He'll get you set up. He's a good guy. But guys, hey, that's another race down. Hometown Heroes class done in the books. We only got about, I think, four more of those until the Four Crowns is up. T is currently right now working on the T-shirt for the members here at Lanes Raceway with their Ingram names on the back and where they finish in the Four Crowns. Now, of course, we're going to set the banquet up a little bit later than we normally do on banquets because we got to wait for their shirts to come in and we got to know where they finish. So once we know where they finish, where their place standing is, we'll make the shirts, we'll get that going. Then that'll come in. We'll do our banquet. You guys will be there for that. You can experience the joy of a banquet here at Lanes Raceway. We're going to hit them with confetti and, you know, have a good time with it. And probably eat Subway since they're our sponsor. And Fairview IT Management, thanks to them for sponsoring the Four Crowns. I don't want to forget that. But coming up next, we're going to be on the Big Blue, the World's Track. The 2023 World's Track that you watched there in New Jersey, we're fixing to be on the Mimic track of that. One of only three made. We got one. Uh, Of course, that one from New Jersey went to Piranha in California, and then the other one went down to Red Fox in Brazil. So those are the only three 2023 Worlds tracks in existence, and we got one here at Lanes Raceway. We're going to be racing our next two races on that coming up next. We're going to end this stream, and we're going to fire up just as soon as this one's over with, and I tech the guys. We're going to be on the Fairview IT Management Cup Series first, then we're going to be jumping right into the 72 pitch LMP class. All right, one last check here. Gale Force, thank you. He says, awesome video, sir. Good luck to the channel. I appreciate that, Gale Force. John says, later, Major. IT, good guy too. See you, John. See you guys. Thank you. God bless you. If it's the last time I see you, God bless you. See you guys on the next time.